Hello, hello. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. Wow, I can't believe the weekend's gone by so quickly. Isn't that amazing how it's like it feels like the weeks go by sometimes very quickly, but sometimes they feel like they drag on. And then our weekends get here, we get super busy. And then what happens is it's like our weekends fly by, and all of a sudden, before we even had time to even think about it, before we even blinked, or we have blinked, and it's like our weekend is over. I had an amazing weekend. My nephew and his bandmate, Kevin Como, my nephew's name is Cody Bowles, and his bandmate is Kevin Como. And they were here at the Brooklyn Bowl, and they opened up for The Who, which is a Mongolian band who are amazing. If you've never heard of them, go and check them out. But my nephew and Kevin's band is called Crownlands. They are super and up and coming, up and rising, beautiful, amazing band. These two have amazing souls. They're so nice, down to earth young men, and they produce this great sound. You know, my nephew, I often wonder, where did he get his voice from? Because his voice is incredible, and he's been honing it, as he's told me, every single day since the first time I heard him sing, as well as his drumming skills are amazing. And Kevin, you know, he's just the sound that comes out of him when he's, you know, the guitar, the bass, and the lead. He plays both. I know, incredible. You've got to check them out if you've never heard of them. Their name is Crownlands. They are coming. I want you to be aware of this. These guys are up and coming. They are going to take the world by storm. So super excited to be on this morning. Thank you so much for joining. Today I want to talk to you about what triggers are, and the question is, can they be cured, right? A lot of people are thinking, well, I have these triggers, you know, how I emotionally show up when something happens. And, you know, it's really like, what are they, and is there a cure? Before I get started, I want to talk to you about how it is really super essential for our emotional well-being to achieve self-awareness around our emotions so we make better decisions on how we respond when, you know, based on how we are feeling when we're triggered. And achieving self-awareness really is you taking time to getting to know who you are, really getting to know who you are, being open to change because change is inevitable, you know, nothing remains the same. The change is inevitable, and embracing that pivoting may be part of the process. In fact, it's a part of the process that we oftentimes resist along with change. Good morning. My name is Leslie Cadet, and I'm an empowerment coach. I help my clients achieve self-awareness around their emotions so that they can handle their triggers, manage their emotions, and get back to what's important, which is living a more positive life. So, as you can see in the title, this week I want to talk to you about triggers and what they are, and the question of, is there really a cure? But first, before I get started, let me explain to you what I have behind me is what I call the triggers chart. So what this is, a little closer. Okay, so triggers, what are they, right? Like, people often think, okay, I know there's triggers. I kind of have understand what triggers are, but really, what are triggers? So this being the triggers chart, it's on repeat, by the way. You can see in the middle, I've written our cycle on repeat. So wrap your head around that if you can. So triggers, what they do is they evoke an emotion. So what are some triggers? So some triggers could be the anniversary date of loss or trauma. It could be a scary news event, perhaps overwhelm. You know, you feel overwhelmed, you got so much to do, so little time. It could be family friction, the ending of a romantic or even just a professional relationship, a good friendship. It could be maybe you grew up and you were judged, maybe you were criticized, maybe you were teased a lot or put down, or maybe all of the above. It could be isolation. So part not go hand in hand with being judged and criticized, teased, or put down. Now you're isolating yourself from others, and that brings on a whole slew of emotions, including loneliness, right? And depression. And then last but not least, financial problems. Again, we're in this season of giving. If you are now someone who celebrates Christmas or even Hanukkah, you know you still are buying gifts, right? And so you're thinking about, okay, I have a budget. How much I think I have a list of who I'm buying for, but sometimes you add people, right? Because you get into the spirit of giving. But a lot of the time that spirit of giving is driven by the dollar value, and rather than the quality, meaning the quality from your heart, Not the quality of the gift by how much you spend, but the quality of how you're feeling when you are picking out this gift for that special someone in your life, whether it's a professional relationship or personal relationship. You really need to think about that, right? So, but that brings on a whole slew of emotions of being stressed, overwhelmed, maybe anxious, maybe you're angry, maybe you feel resentful that you even have to do this because you're thinking, I've got this obligation to actually have to do this, buy gifts, and for how many people and how much money do I spend, how many gifts do I get, the quality, all of that stuff. It can just be really super, super draining on a person. So that's what some triggers are. And what they do, as I said, they evoke an emotion, which in turn, our emotion, based on how we're feeling by that trigger, whatever that trigger is, that emotion will drive the response, basically how we show up in whatever we say and whatever we do, those types of things. So again, it drives our responses, and then the response provides our reward, meaning our reward is a byproduct of a response, whether it's a negative reward or a positive reward, meaning I'm not talking about rewards that you get that are good rewards. I'm talking about things like if it could be a good reward, it could be positive, meaning that you are self-aware around this, how you emotionally show up when you're triggered, so that you make better decisions on how you respond in what you say and do, right? So that can lead to a positive, meaning that you have more clarity, focus, calm, you're happier, and you can live your life, be fully present in your life. That's a positive reward. But the negative, on the other hand, is we typically will focus on negative things. So when we are triggered, our negative response will take us down that road to guilt, shame, and regret, meaning we will show up in the things that we say do negatively, and we'll end up hurting someone, whether it's their feelings, perhaps it's something that we do that could undermine our own successes. And so then we find ourselves having to go back and fix it, because once we've had time to cool off and we've thought about what we've said and done, now we're stuck with this feeling of guilt because we showed up that way, shame for the things that we said, and regret because now we know we got to go back and fix it. So with that being said, let's get back to today's topic. Can our triggers be cured? Or can our emotional responses to our triggers be cured? That's really the question, right? Well, the answer to that is yes and no. Now, the yes part is, with practice, you learn how to control your reactions and your responses to your emotional triggers, meaning you learn to make better decisions when you are emotionally triggered in the things that you say and you do, because of your strong self-awareness around your triggers. And I like to call that your self-awareness muscle, right? You have to build that. Now, the no part is that your emotions are your emotions, okay? It is just simple as that. And they always will be there. And triggers will also always be a part of your life. But you learn to manage them when you learn to spot them, meaning you learn to better understand how you're emotionally triggered, and then you'll be able to strengthen that self-awareness muscle of yours so you can quickly identify when you're being emotionally triggered, whether it's by an internal stimuli or an external stimuli, which in turn helps you to then make better choices in how you show up in the things that you say and do when you're emotionally triggered. Now, real quick, internal stimuli. So internal stimuli, what they are, it's based on our personal experiences over life. So you're born, and of course you have no experiences yet, other than the experience of being born. But that's a beautiful thing, right? So you have the experience of being born, and then you start to grow, not only physically, but mentally and emotionally. And that's through your experiences. So the things that happen to you as you were growing up. And what you end up doing is you're assigning an emotion to each experience. And each experience becomes a memory with that emotion that you file away in your emotional tool cabinet, your filing cabinet. And of course, we all do this. And a lot of the time we are filing those memories away with that emotion, that feeling, because some of those things are going to help us to hopefully not to repeat mistakes. Some simple mistakes like, look where you're going so you don't trip and fall or you don't run into something, right? So, if you did that, you know what the emotion of that is, right? It hurts. So the feeling is it hurts. So that's just a simple one. But, typically we file away negative emotions to memories, right? Maybe it's the ending of a relationship. It was a bad relationship, perhaps. And so we've got that filed away in our filing cabinet, and we get into a new relationship, And maybe that new person exhibits something similar, and we immediately pull out of our filing cabinet a memory that we have attached to a similar emotion, sorry, a similar emotion attached to a similar memory, and we use that against the new relationship. That isn't good, but that's what we typically do. Now, that's just an example. So external stimuli could be just you're externally triggered by something that happens, an event that happens, and it could be by a person, it could be a place that you're at and something happens, or sounds, something you don't like the sound of. Like for me, just an example, you ever hear when someone takes their fingernails and scratches it down a chalkboard? That really like kind of makes it, or here's another one, it just kind of gave me chills right now, thinking of this one. I grew up in the East Coast, so with snow, when snow gets crunchy, sometimes I don't like, I'm just really getting chills right now from it, thinking about it. I don't like the sound, the feeling I get from the sound of the snow crunching underneath my feet. I don't know, it's a weird memory, right? But that is what I'm talking about. So external stimuli, internal stimuli and external stimuli can feed off of each other. So an example of that would be, say you grew up and you were judged or criticized, and maybe how you did things, you know, how you approached problem solving, how you created things, how you did anything at all. And that could be just by your family members, it could be friends, it could be, you know, external people like your teachers, people that you just meet for the first time. And so now you fast forward to you're in your adult life, and perhaps you're at work and someone gives you constructive feedback on something that you're working on. And instead of you taking that as positive feedback, you take it as a personal attack, okay? And so you won't look at that as a positive thing, that maybe that person really is trying to give you something that you could use to improve on what you're doing, right? That there really could be a better way. Instead, you're looking at it as you're being personally attacked. Now, I'm not gonna lie, there are going to be people in your life who will outright criticize you, and it's not constructive feedback. You know, they are trying to bring you down. And so it's up to you to be able to learn to listen and determine if it's feedback or criticism, and keep it or toss it. Meaning if it's feedback, constructive feedback, and you feel it, you're feeling that it's constructive feedback, that's where you can take a look at that more closely to see if it fits in with what you're doing, maybe even tweaking it a little bit in what you're doing and how it can help you improve. But if it's criticism and it's meant to bring you down, you toss it out the door. Now, here's the thing. Don't hold on to the negative feeling based on that negative criticism, right? On that criticism. Do not hold on to it, because it will not serve you if you hold on to it. And all it's going to do is distract you, upset you, and most likely emotionally trigger you into saying or doing things, or both, that you'll regret and have to go back and fix once you've had time to cool off and think about it, right? So again, when you ask, can our triggers be cured, or can our emotional responses to our triggers, can they be cured? We know that we're emotional beings, right? And we know that triggers are real and will always be a fact of life. The important piece is learning to be self-aware around this, okay? And how you emotionally show up when you're triggered, so that your emotions don't manage you, so that you make better decisions in what you say and what you do when life happens, right? Because this is going to happen sometimes multiple times a day. Being aware that this is going to happen is going to really help you. It's going to help you make better choices so that you can live a more calm, clear, happy, focused, and positive life. You know, when I learned about this in my own life and started strengthening my own self-awareness muscle, I realized that it was possible for me to make better decisions in how I showed up emotionally when I'm triggered, to be fully engaged in my life as an active participant, meaning I'm not just letting life happen to me, right? Where letting the chips fall where they may and just kind of letting life flow as it goes. No, I'm allowing life to happen for me. I'm being an active participant in my life, and I'm enjoying the journey, because there's there's a destination. Like, I'm not trying to get somewhere. I'm actually enjoying the journey, because the journey is my destination. And I started living a more positive and happier life. And so that's why I became a coach, to help others learn about this, so they can strengthen their own self-awareness muscle, make better decisions when they're emotionally triggered, and so that they can live a more calm, clear, happy, focused, and positive life. And so with that being said, I created a program built around this cycle. And those that I've worked with have not only learned how to spot their own triggers, being self-aware around them, but they've learned to make better decisions based on how they're feeling in the moment when they are emotionally triggered. But then I went a step further and I improved on it. And I'm super excited now to announce that I did improve it. And it's my 90 Days Accelerator program, Manage Your Emotions, Master Your Life, and is now open for enrollment. Now, if you're allowing your emotions to manage you and you're ready to take back that control, then this program is for you. You know, a lot of reasons why people have so many issues around how they navigate this cycle daily is because of fear. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown, fear of not having control over how something's going to turn out. That's a big one, being a control freak. Fear of not being enough, good enough, or even capable. Fear of being judged because what will people think or say, and will they criticize or judge? You know, fear is powerful that it will stop you from stepping into your own greatness, which in turn allows your inner villain to stay in control, managing your emotions, and continue to manage you through that control. You have the potential to step into your own greatness if you allow your inner hero. And yes, we have one of those too. We do have an inner hero and an inner villain. Our self-talk, really super important. If you caught my live last week on it, really super important on how you talk to yourself, because guess what? You're listening. If you allow your inner hero to get to work so you can start strengthening your self-awareness muscle and become more confident and in control and ultimately manage your emotions, you know, how you show up in the things that you say and you do when you're emotionally triggered, you can start living that life you want to live. You know, in a few short weeks, we're not entering not only a new year, but a new decade. And the question to ask yourself is this: do you want to repeat another year with your emotions managing you? Always having to go back and fix things once you've cooled down, leaving you with one foot in the past, right? Because when you're doing that, you're always looking over your shoulder, having to go back and fix things, which means what? You're barely in your present life, not even to focus on what's going on now. And then you have really no hope of looking to your future of what's next. Maybe you're ready for more. It is your time to manage your emotions. I mean, it's up to you, right? It's your time to master your life. But are you ready to believe in you? And if you are ready, you'll see in the title notes, I put a link there. Click on that link and let's set up a call to see if you're a good fit for the program. And let's get you on the right footing to starting off your new year, your new decade, so that you can start living your life with clarity, confidence, commitment, and of course, being happy and content. But it's really up to you. Are you going to allow your emotions, this piece here, which is what you have the potential to control, so that you can learn that when this happens, when you're triggered, what you say and do takes you down a different road than you're typically always going. Maybe your MO is always to show up badly in the moment, saying how you feel, you know, doing what you feel, and you end up hurting someone and then having to go back and fix it. Or maybe you're ready to take back that control over this and be able to make those better decisions so that you are more clear on how you are emotionally triggered, so that you have more confidence when you're emotionally triggered, so that you can make those better decisions, and that you're making a commitment to yourself to do this, so that your commitment to yourself is not only to learn how to manage this piece, but being able to have a commitment to yourself to live that life you want and love the life that you're living and being content in that life. So it's up to you. Click on the link if you're ready to manage your emotions and master your life. Spots are going fast and I don't want you to miss out. So now, with that being said, remember, I always say this to you, and it's so important, but remember to navigate your day with an attitude of gratitude, because with the right attitude, it puts you in the right mindset for when life happens. And this is life. This is a piece of your life. So remember that. My name is Leslie Cadet, and I'm an empowerment coach. I help my clients learn to achieve self-awareness and ultimately achieve self-awareness around their emotions so that they can handle the triggers, manage their emotions, and live a more positive life. I hope that you all have an amazing day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye for now.